is the 116th English Defense Sermon. Today I would like to argue about the power to overcome through the Christian crisis, the hardships and nurturing of the candlestick church. 1. The power to overcome the Christian crisis. Christians began by fighting against difficult times and has shed great light on the mankind around the world. The light is the great light that received the souls that died under the shadow of the sin and dead. Isaiah 9:1-3. However, the appearance of a woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and the crown of 12 stars in this text shows the sin of the Christianity writing is final battle against the power of the fearsome red dragon. The great difficulty of the Christianity is that it must overcome the great red dragon in the future. More than in the past, the old serpent that tempted Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden became a great dragon and came out of the permission at the end, and it showed up through a great miracle how to overcome that difficult and go forward in Christianity. It says the following about how we Christians can gain the strength to overcome the difficulties that the great red dragons possess. Nevertheless, the demons shall not be such as was in the vexation, when it for both the highly afflict the land of the Zebulun and the land of the Naphtali, and afterward did more grievously afflict by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan and Galilee of the regions. The people that worked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them has the light shined. You have multiplied the nation and not increased the joy. They joy people you according to the joy in harvest, and as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. Isaiah 9:1-3. 1. You must clothe with the sun on your body. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Revelation 12:1. This means that there must be a power that emits great light. This is because in the tribulation period, when the great power of the darkness is permitted to come out, it is more important to have a great power of the light than to follow the light. If Christianity has even a little bit of darkness in the truth or the spiritual world, it will not be able to overcome the crisis. The world and the spiritual world must be light as sunlight, so that the power of darkness cannot dare to penetrate the church. If the church ends or subtract even a little bit from the world, that church will never be able to become the power of the red dragon and will be greatly deceived. God gave the power of the red dragon to the regime of the beast and the religious authority of the false prophet to deceive, as in the chapter 13. This is method to create new era so that only church with completely bright truth will remain. 2. There must be a moon under your feet. This is not a church that relies on the power of the earth, but a church that is united around the power of the saints. The moon does not have its own light, but it is a small light that receives sunlight and shines on the dark night. In order to become a remaining church in the future, it must be a group of saints who do not become tainted by the world and live our Holy Spirit, holy life. This will have the power of the overcome the crisis. This is because God works through the power of the saints. In Revelation 11, it says that the witnesses were given power, so the church established by the power of the moon, like servant, is said to have the moon under its feet. Currently, there are many cases of corruption and secularization within the church. But the church that overcomes the crisis will be a church that is united only with saints who are not corrupt at all and will form a church group that overcomes the crisis. 3. You must wear a crown of the 12 stars. Our church is the one where the 12 apostles trumpet and receive the crown of the kingship in the past. So if we change it even a little from their teaching or rules, we will lose great power. This is because the work of the church of the last days that they started will be the work of the overcome the final crisis. If we want to be in the ranks of the kingship of the battles, we must fight with the all of the receiving all their crowns of victory. This is because when the Lord returns, we will receive the kingship like them. We will also receive great power through the servants who have already received the kingship of the victory. 4. It is a power to do one's best traveling in birth. And she, being with child, cried, traveling in birth, and fainted to be delivered. Revelation 12:2. If Christ loses his power to birth today, this church will never be able to overcome the crisis. Anyone who stands on the line of the face of those battles will be given great power by God and will work to become a servant of iron scepter, no matter how much the red dragon comes out against it. Christianity will inevitably overcome the crisis by producing the servant of power. Conclusion. The battle that all the saints have been fighting with blood until this day will now enter the final stage. So we have reached a point where we cannot maintain the church and welcome the Lord of the second coming without fighting the regime of the beast, the henchman of the red dragon, and the false prophet, which is like dead, and this is God's scheme to leave only the spiritual candlestick church. Part 2. The labor and nurturing of the candlestick church. When God revealed the Apostle John, he showed the state of the church that remained at the end of the Christianity as a woman who clothed with the sun. A woman can bear much fruit, but she can give birth to two kinds of the people. Even if a mother gives birth to children, she can give birth to those who will receive the kingdom and those who will receive the citizenship, even though Esau and Jacob were born from the same mother's womb at the same time. Jacob received the kingdom and Esau did not. Therefore, in the Old Testament era, God called Zion his wife and you his husband, and in the New Testament era, he called the spiritual church the bride and Christ the groom. This is because the purpose was to produce a person who would establish the eternal kingdom through the Old Testament church and the New Testament church, and is to establish a perfect relations of saints. 1. The rebels of the candlestick church, and she being the child cried, traveling in birth, and faint to deliver served, and there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, the 7 crowns upon his heads, and his tail drew and saw the part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man child, who was to rule all nations, with a rod of the iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Revelation 12:2-3-5. First, reason for tolling. Tolling includes the labor of a woman giving birth as the price of sin, and the labor to fight against sin. With the sin of the first Adam came futile labor, and with the victory of the second Adam, the work of the tolling to achieve righteousness began. Righteousness includes the righteousness of faith and the righteousness of the works. The righteousness of the faith is the righteousness of the receiving citizenship by believing in the righteousness of the Christ. And the righteousness of the works is the righteousness of receiving kingship. Therefore, the clean linen in Revelation 19:8 is said to be the righteousness acts of the saints, and the white robes in Revelation 7:14 are said to have been washed and bathed in the blood of the Lamb. Now the sight of the woman clothed with the sun in labor and crying out like a woman in labor shows the sin of the fighting against the power of the devil until the end, before the second coming of the Lord. This is because the age of the grace, when the work of the sowing ceased to establish the church, was done. It was a time when it grew unconditionally, but at the end of the times of the Christianity, it becomes impossible to overcome the power of the red dragon without going through the pain of the childbirth. Therefore, the candlestick church is not a time to receive grace through faith, but a time of trial to test those who have received grace. So they must go through the pain of the childbirth. Can no servant emerge who can overcome the power of the devil, thereby raising up transformed saints. Second, the fruits of the labor are remnant servants and the remnant church. So there is a work of not being harmed by red dragon. So until the Lord comes, we must protect the remnant church as the remnant servants and go out to welcome the Lord at his second coming. And the hero was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for the fine linen is the righteousness of the saints. Revelation 19:8. And I said unto Sam, so you know. And she said to me, these are they which came out of a great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Revelation 7:14. 2. Nurturing the candlestick church. First, the reason for raising children, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where he has place prepared of God, that they should plead her there 1,260 days. Revelation 12:6. And when the dragon saw that he was cast at the earth, it persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. Revelation 12:13. Before the second coming of the Lord, the candlestick church will spread the gospel widely. Revelation 11:3-4. This gospel is the gospel of the prophesying again, because it testifies to the resurrection of the cross, the wonderful work of rebirth, and the work of the entering heaven. And because the candlestick church prophesies again, the servant who testifies will receive authority and overcome the enemy while giving a prophetic warning, and will be raptured when the Lord of the second coming arises. And the flock that heard that prophetic words and gathered at the candlestick church will be from a remnant church and be nurtured. Because they believed in the prophetic words and obeyed them, they will be nurtured in the place prepared. According to the word, at this time the words will be handed over to the devil, and every country will be protected only in the place prepared. Because as in chapter 13, if any does not bow down to the beast, he will be killed, and no one can buy or sell, except those who have received the mark. During the 3.5 years of the tribulation, all except the candlestick church will fall into tribulation, and some will die by the enemy's sword, and some will bow down to the beast and receive the mark. However, those who die at the time will ignore the candlestick church and not believe in and obey the prophecy testified by that church. So they will not be protected and will suffer damage from the enemy. The reason for protecting the candlestick church is: the first is the condition of the believing and obeying the prophetic word, and the second is that since they are the children of the physical bloodline and the children of the spiritual place of the transformed saints who fought to the end and won, they protect and nurture the remaining church. So when the received servants come down to us and rule the world, they will welcome them and serve them as kings, as become the people who will enjoy the glory of the earthly kingdom together. In other words, they can be seen as the righteous seed of the transformed saints. And I give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days. Close in sacred, these are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. Revelation 11:3-4. And had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bound, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And then no man might buy or sell, save that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Revelation 13:15-17. Second, parenting policy. And the woman was given two wings of the great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for time, and the times, and the help of time, from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth waters as blood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the blood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the blood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wrote with the woman, and went down mark with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandment of the God, and have the testimony of the Jesus Christ. Revelation 12:14-17. God gives great strength to the remnant church, so that they are not afraid at all, and have courage when they see the servant that followed being wrestled. They believe more firmly in the gospel that the servant testified, and they become grew with the heart to obey the word, just as when Jesus ascended, the people who followed him gathered together in the attic and prayed together to form a complete church. When he closed that followed the raptured servant from a complete group, and passes by as prophesied. God will absolutely protect them, so that the tribulation and comes down like water will enter the air. As Daniel 12:1 and Psalm 34:7, the heavenly host flock the enemy countries, so the candlestick church will be raised peacefully in the midst of the tribulation. This is because God works fiercely for the candlestick church. In the first 3.5 years, when the servants of the authority are raised and work is done, all the servants are united as the candlestick church, and at the same time, many people are awakened, and the candlestick church become prosperous. In the last 3.5 years, angels are mobilized to work in the work of the guiding the already established candlestick church to the preparation place, and nurturing it is so that it does not suffer damage from the enemy. The angel of the Lord encamps round about them that fear him, and delivers them. Psalm 34:7. And the same time shall Michael stand up, the great prince stands for the children of your people, and there shall be a time of the troubles, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. While at that time your people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Daniel 12:1. Conclusion. I believe that the most blessed church is the candlestick church. This is because the perfect earthly kingdom is formed through that church. The most blessed servants and the blessed families are all those in the candlestick church. They believe that there are three more blessings than the church that only saves souls. The first is the blessing of the kingship. The second is the blessing of the family. And the third is the blessing of the descendants for the generations. Therefore, the sin of the going through the pinch of the childbirth, the sin of the ascending to the throne, and the sin of the being raised in the prepared place are shown in Revelation 12. The curious period is around 2025 through 2026 for the unification of the North and South Korea. The first three end of help years around 2025 through 2028. The rapture and the World War start around 2028. The next three end of help years around 2028 through 2032. And after organizing the kingdom department, the coronation and the departure be having heaven wedding feast. Revelation 6:2, Revelation 19:9. The Armageddon war expected around 2032. The wedding feast, the inauguration of the ceremony of the King of Kings, and the Turk, Revelation 24. And the Millennium Kingdom are expected around 2034. Thank you for watching until the end. You can see the English and Korean text of the more detailed sentence sermon that the world responds to in the homepage, blog, or copy of the Candlestick Central Church on the internet. I wish you blessed life in which the fear of the Lord is your joy in your daily life. I pray that every day of your life is free from sin and has nothing to do with sin, and become a bridegroom to welcome the Lord of the second coming. The entry of the 3.5 years before the last week is very near. I hope you are in the peace of the Lord until the next time. Thank you. The 10 Commandments. First, you shall have no other gods before me. Second, you shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything, and you shall not bow down to them or worship them. Third, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Fourth, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Fifth, honor your father and your mother. Sixth, you shall not murder. Seventh, you shall not commit adultery. Eighth, you shall not steal. Ninth, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Tenth, you shall not covet your neighbor's belongings. Thank you.